Hey, we're live here from Birmingham in the UK, demonstrating the Nord Wave, and I think I've got Jason here with me. Is that correct?
It is. That's Stefan.
Yes.
Welcome to Keys and Frequencies. It's a real pleasure to have you guys. The Nord Wave 2, big fan. Saw it in NAMM last year, and I was impressed that not only we got a fantastic sort of wave-based synthesizer, that it was multi-timbral as well.
Yeah.
Thank you. So what are you going to be doing for us today?
Well, I'm basically going to be showing how I would personally use this instrument in live context, how it helps me in rehearsals to just really quickly make the sounds I like to make, how it's just, everything's just like press of a button away, and I'm just going to be playing to a bit of like an Ableton backing track and just, really just show how I would approach it and how well it works,
Looking forward to it. Right, well, I'm going to leave you to it, and I'm going to sit back and enjoy the feature.
Great. Well, I hope you guys can all hear me in the stream. I'm just going to put on my headphones and then we're just going to hit go.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Right, that was our first little song, sorry. Just going to adjust my headphones. And what you heard was just one patch and everything really coming from the Nord except for that little drum loop. I'm just going to show you so you know what was happening. Alright, apart from that, everything was coming from the Nord Wave 2, and I just want to kind of break it apart a little bit to get you an idea how quickly you can make a patch like this and how I've approached making this one. So, before I do that, I'm just going to tell you a bit about the keyboard. So the Wave 2 is, as you can see, 61 key multi-timbral synthesizer with 4 layers, which you can just freely mix and match, split and layer across the keyboard. And it allows you to really make the most of what we know from Nord in terms of flexibility. Okay, so if you've already used the Nord Lead 4 or A1, you will know the 4-layer concept. But now we've got the ability to use 4 samples. Okay, so these could be samples of drums or your favorite analog synth or voices or any loops that you want to load in. So no two waves will sound alike, if that makes any sense. But on top of that, you also have an inbuilt synth engine with wavetable, FM, analog waveforms, which are digital because it's a digital synth, but they can sound quite analog. So without further ado, I'm just going to break my patch apart a little bit for you and show you what we've done here. So we've got this little solo function, which is super handy to just audition the individual sounds. So at first I've got this little bass here with the ARP mapped to the mod wheel, so it's with the filter mapped to the mod wheel, so it's just a touch of a button away, and I can easily just open up the filter. And I've got an ARP here, just doing 16th, and that ARP is perfectly synced to Ableton, and it's not going to go out of time, and it's just an absolute no-brainer and lifesaver for me in so many live situations where you probably saw that I didn't play perfectly, but all these ARPs and everything was happening was perfectly synced to the MIDI clock from Ableton, and that's what this one's really good at. We're using a triple saw wave here with just a bit of detune, running it through a ladder filter and get that sound. And then in the kind of middle section here, I've had two sounds, a lovely string machine, and that's a sample of an analog synth that I've just really love but didn't want to bring today, so I've just put this in here. And again, filters mapped to the mod wheel, but you've also probably heard that in the intro, when I hit this little button, there was a phaser happening, and yeah, that was there as well. And the phaser, I just kind of utilize that by using the impulse morph button. So the impulse morph is a function that if I hit this button, it could be a number of knob combination, anything really. You could just change the envelopes, change the volume, anything that you want to, just a click of a button, and all that is being recalled. So in this case, impulse morph is mapped to the phaser. And also I've mapped it kind of backwards into Ableton, so if you hear the loop again, it just filters down the loop, adds a bit of drive, so I can do that quite easily as well. So it becomes a MIDI controller in that sense as well. So third sound was just some choir that I found. Okay, nothing fancy, but I could obviously try to play this and mess it up, or I can try to just put that onto the pattern arpeggiator. And this is not really a sequencer, but almost like a sequencer, but it's a lot more playable than a sequencer. When in a sequencer you have to make your sequences and make sure that every notes are kind of punched in perfectly before you play them. This one just reacts the way with the notes you want to play in the moment, but it allows you to store and recall these patterns, and they just make it really fun to play. So if I then compare these two sounds together, you get the idea. So that's what's happening with that sound. And I've got another sound here, and again with the pattern sequencer, and it's not just like you were hearing, it's not just a kind of monophonic ARP, it's also a polyphonic ARP, so it can just play the entire chord, and that's really helpful. Cool, so I'll just show you the patch kind of together now that you've learned how or understood how I made it, and I'll just kind of glue it back together. I'm not going to play the entire demo again, but just give you a sense of what that sounded like, and you can listen out to all these parts. And then the last thing, obviously you heard me playing this bit. Yes, we got a nice analog delay section on this one, and it's just really fun to kind of manipulate that with the mod wheel. So there's 3 different parameters on the mod wheel. Again, I would be able to do that live while I'm also doing all these other things, just kind of one thing mapped to the mod wheel, and that's how it works. Now for the second bit I want to show you, I'm just gonna also get the live stream up. If anyone has any questions, I think I can read them later. For the second bit, I'd like to play along to the little pocket operator I've got here on the side, and that's not going to be MIDI clocked, so I need to find a way to play in time, or to have all my ARPs and all my sequence in time to the pocket operator, which is super easy to do. So this is going to be the little sequence that I'm going to play to. All right, and we're just going to try to make it a little bit of like a 80s kind of thing. So this is at 90 BPM. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to set my MIDI clock to 90, or my master clock to 90 rather. And so everything I now clock, while I choose master clock, it's going to be clocked to this 90 BPM, which is the same as this one. So for this bit, I'm just going to make use of the split functionality that we have again. It's quite easy. We're just going to do this and this. And now I've got a little split here, one up here. Probably want to move this one down. And I've split my keyboard into 3 zones. And down here I want to have a bass sound again, just because it's convenient to play that in the left hand. And I'm going to pick the triple saw with an added fifth, which sounds like this. Just going to filter that down a little bit, make it mono, add a bit of glide and a little bit of bass, and I've got a great bass sound. I can even add a bit of drive, and that was like 5 button clicks. So first sound done. Second one, I just want to have a little bit of a pad, something, maybe this one. Gonna filter down a bit. Sounds great. I want to use the module again to open up the filter, and you can already hear that it's quite a bit louder, and that's annoying me when the filter's open. So I'm just going to do this and bring down the volume of my layer when the module goes up. So now it's balancing it out a bit more, essentially like a bit of a limiter or compressor, but doing it with morphing, which is just so quickly to do. All right, cool. So this sound just needs a bit of reverb, a bit more release, and we'll just leave it there for now. Next up, I just want a wavetable, and I really love this one. The Saw Random is what it's called. You're so random. It's basically, if I run this through a chorus, you're probably reminded of a very famous synth sound, but this is not a sample. This is a wavetable that is just kind of stock on this one. So I'm just a big fan of this one. Okay, so this one we're gonna make just like a poly, plucky thing. Which let's MIDI clock it to an 8th note. Press hold. By the way, the hold function is amazing because you can just hold, make your sound while it holds for you. And now we're going to make this poly. Great. Add a bit of space to it as well. And I will need the same thing, just a bit of kind of limiting when it gets too loud. And I might want to bring up the filter as well. Okay, so right now we've got this. Quickly. All right, last sound, and we're almost done. Is going to be, I'm just going to hit save so we don't lose our progress. Last one is going to be this 80s lead sound, if I remember where I put it. Here we go. Okay, a bit of release, bit of filter, envelope, and I can add velocity to the filter as well, obviously. Helps me then to just hit harder and the filter opens up more. again, bit of space, and we've got this new really large cathedral verb on this one, and you see me using that a lot. Add a bit of chorus, not that much. And one function that's actually quite helpful is if I want to use chorus on the same effect, not just chorus, but the same effect on different slots, I can literally just go group and hit group here. And now any changes I make will be made for that group, and I can group all these things where it says group, and it literally makes it even faster, as if we weren't fast enough. Okay, so let's play the patch. That sounds good. Let's hit the loop and see, make that a bit louder. Get the idea. Where are we at in terms of timing? We've got some time left. Cool. So that patch we just made in about 5 minutes, and that was with me talking. So you could probably make that in like 2 or 3 minutes if you know what you're doing. Just kind of like click through the things. And the cool thing is, like I said, you can also group the envelopes. So envelopes usually sometimes take a little bit more time to really shape that. And if you want to have the same envelope on 2 sounds or 2 samples, then you can just group them, and all the changes will be applied to whatever group you've selected. So that is just super quick. Last but not least, I'm just going to show you one more patch that I've just made last night. I think it sounds awesome, and just shows off how just rich this keyboard sounds. Okay, so I've got a little bit of a sequence loop up here, and I'm just going to play on top of that. So this works with the hold function, so you can just hold anything, and then you can disable hold on the rest of the keyboard, which I've done. So it's only holding this and not this. Cool. I'm just seeing some really friendly comments here in the chat section, so thanks for that. It's a lot of fun to be just demoing this one and to have you guys watching, so thank you for that. I'm just going to break this one apart really quickly, and then we're just going to leave a bit of space for questions, and we also want to tell you about a little promo code from Thomann, where you can just get a sweet discount, so that's going to come up in about a minute and a half. All right, so what we've got here is this little sequence, and we've got the ability here to have a sine wave that we can shape into different things. So the LFO is just kind of mangling the sine and moving that into a square almost, and then it's got this nice delay that really almost sounds like it's kind of like rain to me. That's what it sounds like. So long feedback and just kind of looping on top of itself, and almost just becoming this texture in the background. And then we got these strings here, and they just sound really warm. And that's a sample, just load it in. I think I found that somewhere online. I can even do that to a sample. Just like pre-map the LFO to the filter. And then I've got this, sorry, wrong key. For any Bon Iver fans out there, I really love Bon Iver. So, sample of another really famous synth from the early 90s. Not even a real one, just the software, just kind of loaded that in. And then last but not least, I've got this. This is another sample from an analog synth. And that's running again through this really large reverb and just creates this really nice texture in the background. And we still have this playing. And really, like I was showing before, you can pre-map even the faders and pre-map everything, or you can have this approach to the instrument, like in this demo I've just done now, where you want to touch the knobs a bit more and just work with the instrument or put that into your live performance, and all that is possible. So you can go as deep as you want and just really pre-map everything and MIDI map things, and I haven't even shown you the MIDI capabilities of the Wave 2, or you can just do it on the fly. And for me, what's really amazing is if I'm the MD at a rehearsal, or if I'm just kind of like the keys player in a rehearsal, and it just has to go really quickly, I'm aware that there's software, and I love software instruments, that is more in depth, but this is in a way crazy in depth still, but easy to manipulate, and you can just get everything that you could want in a kind of live environment to be able to just react really quickly, great sound, bring in your favorite samples of any analog synth that you can think of into the unit and just take that to the gig, and you're sorted. And the keys feel great. I really love playing piano stuff on it as well. I wonder if I have a little piano thing, just a little loop. Alright, so that's well possible. Organ is great, so I've got a stage 3, so I usually use it as kind of like a 2-tier setup. Do the organ bits on here and then kind of MIDI back and forth. So really great. Okay, so we're 5 minutes towards the end, I think, and I wonder if there are any questions. Or actually, let's do the promo first. If you guys, I'm looking to my team, if you can show the code. Okay, it's on the screen. Keys and Freak Nord 2021. Head to thomann.com, and I think until tomorrow evening you've got the ability to just go shopping and get a bit of a discount. It was lovely seeing you guys all on the live stream. Also, let's see if there are any questions in the chat. There's a question, do you recommend the Nord Wave 2 also for absolute beginners? Yeah, absolutely. This front panel looks super intimidating to most people. They look at it and they're like, okay, what am I going to do with this? Once you understood that actually Nord has put these nice little labels and group things for you together, and you understand what everything does, it's actually a really good synth to learn on. So if you want to learn about subtractive synthesis and envelopes and filters, it's all right there. It's not hidden in any menus. You don't have to dive in and just kind of spend 15 minutes to do one parameter change and get frustrated. So the learning curve on this is quite quick actually. So I would definitely recommend it. If you want to start out and just learn about synthesis, it's great. And it comes with a lot of fantastic, like I said, fantastic waveforms, kind of like analog modeled waveforms, and a lot of samples as well. So you could do stuff like just like play strings or the mellotron. It's all in here. So you'd be sorted with a wide variety of sounds. What else do we have? How does the virtual synth section compare to the Nord Lead A1, which I have and really like? Yeah, both are great. Both are great. The main difference is the samples. The ability to just preload kind of like really heavily stacked sounds into the unit, maybe already kind of with filter envelopes of your favorite kind of analog synth, then that can be just loaded in here. Whereas on the Lead A1, you would have to make these sounds yourself. And also this comes with the Superwave forms, so that's one thing to keep in mind as well. So this will have like really thick super saws and super squares and all that. In terms of the ARP, the ARP and the kind of almost sequence, I want to say, the pattern arpeggiator, this goes a lot deeper than what the A1 does, and it's got 61 compared to 49 keys. So those will be the main differences. Someone's saying M1 sample. Yes, it is. Any other questions? Can all 4 layer synth engines have their own ARPs and effects? Yes, you can group them. You can put things together if you want to, but in most of the demos I've been showing today, I've actually not grouped anything, just to kind of show you how crazy you can get. So everything you see here times 4, and that's really powerful. And sometimes I sit down behind this keyboard and I'm like, I don't even know really where to begin, not because it's overwhelming, just because I've got all these capabilities now, and it's got 48 voice polyphony, so it's technically like 412 voice whatever synth you put the name in, and that's just kind of, it's not going to do any voice stealing. It's just perfect for live use, and it just allows me to do so many things, and I've barely ever really found a limitation, and if I did, I found a workaround that was really clever, and limitations are not bad necessarily. So yeah, I'm just going to go back. One thing is I like to do change waveforms between layers, layer volumes by using Aftertouch. Yeah, you can do a lot of things with Aftertouch as well. Like Aftertouch can be mapped to anything, and then I haven't even spoken about velocity layers. And yeah, we're pretty much at the end of the live stream, I think. I think the way this platform works, we're still going to be available to answer questions if you message directly, if you have any questions, or get in touch with Nord. And thanks to Sound Servers from Germany for getting us onto this live stream. We're streaming here from Birmingham, like we're saying. It's been an absolute pleasure to just be part of Keys and Frequencies and to be part of this day and see all these lovely brands coming together, and Thomann to put this on. So thanks for having us, and have a really nice day, and stay safe.
He's so good.
Thanks, man.
Like really natural, but no, we